Right now, something big is happening and people cannot stop talking about it. For years, many felt uneasy but stayed quiet. Now that silence is gone, people are asking one simple question: how did someone who was given so much end up losing almost everyone who helped her? Stay with this, because once you see the pattern clearly, it becomes impossible to ignore. What you are about to hear is not gossip or rumor. It is a trail of choices, and those choices are finally catching up. Meghan Markle is being heavily criticized right now, and for many people it feels overdue. Critics, commentators, and even former supporters are now saying what others have thought for years. She was given huge opportunities, and one by one she damaged every relationship that helped her succeed. She turned against the people who supported her, not just once, but again and again, until there was no one left to support her. The backlash we are seeing now is stronger than anything before. People are gathering proof, lining up facts, and showing a clear pattern of ungrateful behavior that followed her rise from a small TV role to worldwide fame. The response has been harsh. One comment summed it up well. The person said it is shocking to complain after being welcomed into the richest and most respected family in history. That statement makes people stop and think about everything that has happened over the past few years. She married into a family that gave her instant fame across the world, and instead of protecting those ties, she burned every bridge. The royal family welcomed her warmly. Her father gave up everything to support her dreams. Palace staff worked hard to help her succeed. The media praised her and celebrated her. And what did they get in return? They were criticized, pushed away, and embarrassed in public. People close to the situation now say this pattern was not an accident. They claim it was planned and repeated on purpose. When someone damages this many relationships, you eventually have to stop blaming everyone else and look at the one thing they all share. That one thing is Meghan. What we are seeing now is years of behavior finally coming back to her. The public is done feeling sorry for her. Many people who once defended her are now asking why they ever believed her story. The evidence is everywhere. Interviews, documentaries, lawsuits, family members who no longer speak to her, staff who quit, and projects that failed all point to the same result. She turned against everyone who helped her, and now very few people are willing to help at all. And this is only the beginning. When you look closely at each relationship she damaged and each chance she wasted, the picture becomes even worse. The royal family gave her more than most people could ever dream of, and what she did in return shocked the world. To understand how serious this is, you have to look at what the royal family actually gave her. Before this, she was a supporting actress on a cable TV show that many people outside North America had never heard of. She modeled briefcases on game shows and worked hard just to get noticed. Then suddenly, almost overnight, she became one of the most famous women in the world. The royal family gave her instant global fame that most celebrities spend their whole lives chasing. They gave her a wedding that cost about $40 million, with famous guests from entertainment and royalty. They gave her a tiara from the Queen's collection. They gave her 2 beautiful homes. They gave her a full team of staff to make her life easier. They gave her top-level security. But it was more than money or luxury. They gave her access to the most powerful circles in the world. They gave her a platform to speak about causes she said she cared about. They gave her respect, status, and honor that cannot be bought. One day she was an actress from a TV show. The next day she was the Duchess of Sussex. Reports say the royal family truly tried to help her adjust. Teams were assigned to guide her through royal rules and traditions that had existed for hundreds of years. She was offered help with the media, clothing, and public duties. What makes this more striking is how quickly the family accepted her. The engagement came fast. The wedding was a global celebration. Prince Charles walked her down the aisle when her father could not attend. The Queen even invited her to official events before the wedding. This was not a family that shut her out. By most accounts, they did everything they could to help her succeed. So what did she do with this rare opportunity? She spent less than 2 years as a working royal before saying she was unhappy. She complained about rules and traditions. She reportedly argued with staff and family members. Then she encouraged Harry to leave it all behind and later attacked the same institution that gave her everything. The biggest shock came next. The Oprah interview showed just how far she was willing to go. It was less than a year after leaving the royal family. The Queen was elderly and Prince Philip was in the hospital. Meghan sat down and made claims that spread around the world. She accused the family of racism, saying someone questioned how dark her baby's skin might be. She did not name anyone, leaving the whole family under suspicion. The damage was immediate. A family that survived wars and crises was now being called racist worldwide. She also said she felt suicidal while pregnant and claimed she was denied help. She described the royal system as cold and uncaring. Palace sources later disagreed, but by then the story had already taken hold. She complained about losing protection, her passport, and support. Every complaint pointed back to the people who had helped her rise. Royal insiders were stunned. The Queen was said to be deeply hurt. William was reportedly furious. Years of family unity were broken in one long TV broadcast. What made it worse was that Meghan and Harry were paid millions for the interview. She earned money while tearing apart her husband's family. The damage still lasts today. Harry's relationship with his brother is badly broken. His relationship with his father remains tense. Family events are now carefully planned to keep distance between them. And the royal family was not the first group to feel this treatment. Long before Harry, there was someone else who gave everything for her success: her own father. Before there was a royal family to turn against, there was Thomas Markle. What happened between Meghan and her father may be the saddest example of her pushing away someone who loved her most. This is the man who gave her life, worked hard for her future, and supported her dreams from the start. Thomas Markle spent long hours working in Hollywood so he could provide for his daughter. He paid for her private school education, which cost a lot of money. He encouraged her acting dreams when she was still a teenager. He showed up for school plays, auditions, and every high and low. This was not a distant or careless parent. By all accounts, he was a loving and devoted father. When Meghan moved to Los Angeles to chase acting jobs, Thomas reportedly helped support her when work was hard to find. He wanted her to succeed and did everything he could to help. And how did she repay him? She cut him out of her life. The break happened around the wedding when Thomas was caught posing for paparazzi photos. It was embarrassing, yes, but many people ask if that mistake really deserved a lifetime punishment. Most people would try to forgive and move on. Meghan did not. She stopped speaking to her father completely. Thomas has never met his grandchildren. He learned about major moments in Meghan's life through the news. This elderly man who gave years of love and support was erased. Now the situation is even worse. Thomas is in his 80s. He has lost a leg, suffered strokes, and his health is failing. For years, he has publicly asked for one simple thing: a conversation with his daughter before he dies. According to insiders, Meghan has set conditions that make a meeting almost impossible. They say she demands that he travel to California, even though his health makes that very hard. She also reportedly wants written promises that he will never speak publicly about the meeting. Sources say these rules are meant to make sure the reunion never happens. That way, she can say she tried without ever actually doing it. This is her own father, the man who raised her and believed in her when few others did. Inside the palace, Meghan showed the same pattern with staff. Many employees who worked closely with her ended up leaving. This was not just one unhappy worker. It was many people over and over again. Soon after she joined the royal family, reports came out about tension with palace staff. Assistants who had worked for the royals for years suddenly quit. The number of departures shocked palace insiders. Then came claims of bullying. Reports said a complaint was filed, saying Meghan made staff cry. People described a stressful and fearful work environment. The palace took the claims seriously enough to investigate, even though the results were never shared publicly. That alone raised concerns. And when Meghan and Harry moved to California, the same thing happened. Staff members at their new offices kept leaving. Chiefs of staff and communications directors came and went. Even their charity saw more workers pushed out during yet another reorganization. These were not beginners. They were experienced professionals used to working with powerful people. They still chose to leave. Insiders say the pattern was always the same. New staff arrived excited to help. Over time, demands grew harder. Expectations changed constantly. Nothing was ever good enough. Eventually, people reached their limit and walked away. One insider said Meghan treats staff as replaceable. Once someone disagrees or becomes inconvenient, they are gone. The media also felt this shift. At first, reporters loved Meghan. She was praised as modern, stylish, and refreshing. Her relationship with Harry was treated like a fairy tale. Magazines featured her on covers around the world. Her acting career and engagement received glowing attention. The media helped make her famous. But the moment any story turned less positive, Meghan changed her tone. She began calling the media cruel and unfair. Lawsuits followed. Interviews attacked journalists for doing their jobs. She built a story where she was always the victim. Yet even when the media tried to fix mistakes, it was not enough. A news outlet once apologized on air after a presenter repeated an unproven claim about Meghan's mother. The presenter admitted she was wrong and corrected the record. This was the kind of apology Meghan said she wanted. But instead of accepting it, her team attacked the network again. They said the apology was fake and only done to avoid a lawsuit. A moment that could have brought peace turned into another fight. This shows the pattern clearly. Even when someone tries to make things right, it is never enough. The media helped lift her from a little-known actress to a global star. They celebrated her wedding and achievements, and now she treats all journalists as enemies. Some people now wonder if even Prince Harry fits this pattern. Old interviews show him speaking about Meghan in strange ways, talking about roles and teamwork instead of love. He gave up his family ties, his military roles, his home country, and his old friends. He moved far away and became cut off from his past. People close to him say he seems changed and isolated. Many ask if Harry knew what he was giving up. He gave Meghan everything, and now even his future looks uncertain. This same pattern shows up in their charity work. Their foundation was meant to be their legacy, but it struggled badly. Reports showed it spent far more money than it raised. Much of the money went to expenses, not charity. Meghan and Harry reportedly worked only about 1 hour a week for it. Staff were let go right before Christmas. Soon after, the foundation was shut down and rebranded under a new name. This raised serious questions. Donors gave money expecting to help others, but much of it disappeared into unclear costs. Once again, people who tried to help were pushed aside. Experts say this behavior may explain why gratitude never seems to appear. Some people believe Meghan sees help not as a gift, but as something she deserves. When people stop giving or ask for respect, she sees it as betrayal. This leads to blame, anger, and broken ties. This pattern has followed her everywhere. Family, staff, media, donors, and now the public. The support is gone. The patience is gone. What remains is a growing backlash and fewer people willing to stand by her. The backlash against Meghan Markle has now reached a level that very few people could have imagined just a few years ago. There was a time when almost any criticism of her was immediately shut down. People were afraid to question her story. They were afraid of being labeled unfair or cruel. That time is over. The conversation has changed, and it has changed in a big way. Today, social media is filled with people openly talking about the same pattern over and over again. These are not just critics anymore. Many of them are former supporters. These are people who once defended her, argued for her, and believed her version of events without question. Now, those same people are saying they were wrong. They are saying they ignored warning signs because they wanted to believe in the fairy tale. The shift is clear, and it is happening everywhere at once. Look at the comment sections under any video, article, or post about Meghan and Harry. The tone is no longer sympathetic. It is skeptical. People are no longer asking, "How could this happen to her?" They are asking, "How did we not see this sooner?" The benefit of the doubt she once enjoyed has completely disappeared. Once that trust is gone, it is almost impossible to get back. This change in public opinion is not just emotional. It is starting to affect her career in very real ways. The projects that were supposed to relaunch her image and secure her future are failing to deliver. Her Netflix cooking show was expected to be a success. It had a major platform, global promotion, and her name attached to it. Yet it failed to break into the top 10 in both the United States and the United Kingdom. That is a major red flag in the streaming world. The holiday special performed even worse. Instead of becoming a seasonal favorite, it quietly disappeared with little impact. Industry insiders have started asking uncomfortable questions. Why is Netflix still holding on to this deal? What value is actually being delivered? Some suggest that without anything connected to Princess Diana, there may be very little left that audiences truly want to see. Her lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, tells a similar story. This brand was teased as the beginning of a new empire. It was supposed to represent elegance, taste, and success. Instead, it became a source of confusion and mockery. Trademark applications were mishandled. Product launches were announced and then delayed. Some were never released at all. The jam that was meant to signal the brand's arrival became a symbol of poor planning and empty promises. To the public, this pattern feels familiar by now. Big announcements followed by little follow-through. Grand visions with no clear execution. Over time, people stop getting excited. They stop waiting. They move on. In entertainment and business, that loss of interest is deadly. At the same time, Meghan's personal world appears to be shrinking. Reports suggest that she and Harry have struggled to build lasting friendships in their California community. When they first arrived, there was curiosity and excitement. Celebrity neighbors were interested. Doors were open. Over time, that interest faded. Invitations slowed down. Connections cooled. The Hollywood lifestyle that Meghan seemed to trade royalty for has not materialized in the way many expected. Instead of becoming a powerful insider with strong industry relationships, she appears increasingly on the outside looking in. Hollywood is a place built on relationships, trust, and mutual benefit. When people feel used, criticized, or burned, they tend not to come back. This growing isolation makes the future look even more uncertain. The royal family door appears firmly closed. Years of public attacks have made reconciliation extremely unlikely. Her relationship with her father remains broken, and time is not on their side. Former staff members have moved on, many with no reason or desire to protect her reputation. The media she fought for years now has little incentive to be kind or cautious. The public, once willing to listen patiently, has grown tired of the same story being told again and again. People do not deny that Meghan faced challenges. What they question is why every story always has the same ending, with everyone else at fault and no responsibility taken. As this support disappears, the Sussexes appear increasingly desperate to stay relevant. Reports of selling access to private dinners for extremely high prices have raised eyebrows. To many, it looks like trading on royal connections while still attacking the institution that gave those connections meaning. That contradiction has not gone unnoticed. Their charitable foundation was supposed to be their moral anchor, the proof that they were serious about helping others. Instead, it became another source of criticism. Financial struggles, staff layoffs, and sudden restructuring damaged its credibility. For people who donated believing in the mission, this was deeply disappointing. Trust, once broken, is very hard to rebuild in the charity world. The entertainment deals that were meant to turn them into major power players have produced more embarrassment than success. Each failed project chips away at their image. Each public misstep reinforces the idea that something is fundamentally not working. When you step back and look at the full picture, a clear theme emerges. Meghan Markle was given extraordinary opportunities. She was offered support, protection, and platforms that most people will never experience. These opportunities came from family, institutions, staff, donors, and the public itself. Again and again, those same sources of support ended up pushed away, criticized, or blamed. Over time, people stopped reaching out. They stopped offering help. They stopped giving second chances, not because of one mistake, but because of a long pattern that never seemed to change. The backlash happening now is not sudden. It is delayed. It is the result of years of frustration finally boiling over. Many people feel they defended her for too long while ignoring evidence that something was wrong. Now they are correcting that mistake. What remains is a very uncertain future. Fame without goodwill is fragile. Influence without trust does not last. When bridges are burned completely, there are no easy paths forward. Meghan Markle's story has become a lesson in what happens when gratitude disappears and accountability never arrives. This moment did not come out of nowhere. It was built slowly, choice by choice, relationship by relationship. And now, with very few allies left and very little patience remaining, the consequences are impossible to ignore. When you step back and look at everything together, the story becomes very clear. This is not about one bad interview. It is not about one family argument. It is not about one failed business or one misunderstanding with staff. This is about a long pattern that repeats itself again and again, no matter the setting, no matter the people, and no matter the opportunity. Over and over, Meghan Markle was given help. Over and over, doors were opened for her. And over, those same doors were slammed shut from the inside. She was not ignored, she was not excluded, she was not pushed out at the start. She was welcomed, supported, protected, and promoted. The royal family gave her global fame, respect, and resources. Her father gave her love, sacrifice, and years of support. Staff gave her loyalty and hard work. The media gave her praise and powerful platforms. Donors gave her money believing they were helping others. The public gave her patience, sympathy, and the benefit of the doubt. And yet, one by one, every one of those relationships fell apart. What makes this story so powerful is that the same outcome keeps happening, even though the people involved are completely different. Different family members, different employees, different journalists, different business partners, different audiences, but the ending is always the same. Hurt feelings, broken trust, silence, distance, and blame placed everywhere except in one direction. For a long time, many people refused to see this. They wanted to believe the best. They wanted to believe that all the problems came from outside forces. They wanted to believe that Meghan was simply unlucky or misunderstood. That belief held strong for years. But patterns do not lie. When someone has conflict with one person, it can be explained. When someone has conflict with almost everyone who gets close to them, it becomes something else. At some point, the story stops being about bad luck and starts being about behavior. That is the moment we are in right now. The public mood has changed because people are no longer looking at single events. They are looking at the full timeline. They are connecting the dots. They are asking hard questions, not out of cruelty, but out of honesty. Why did so many staff members leave? Why did so many relationships end the same way? Why does every story end with the same message of betrayal and victimhood? Why is there never accountability or reflection? These questions are not attacks. They are natural conclusions drawn from years of evidence. What also stands out is how much was given before anything was taken away. Meghan was not asked to earn her place from nothing. She was lifted quickly and completely. She was trusted early. She was defended loudly. She was given grace again and again. Very few people in the world ever receive that level of support, especially so fast. And very few people ever lose it so completely. This is why the backlash feels so strong now. It is not sudden anger. It is delayed realization. It is people finally saying out loud what they have quietly noticed for a long time. There is also something deeply sad about this story. Not because of fame lost or deals failed, but because of relationships that may never be repaired. A father growing old without speaking to his daughter. A family split apart. Friendships that faded into silence. Staff members who left hurt and exhausted. Donors who believed in a cause and felt let down. These are not headlines. These are human costs. And what makes it more painful is that none of this had to happen. So many of these bridges could have been saved with simple choices. A quiet conversation instead of a public attack. A private apology instead of a lawsuit. Gratitude instead of resentment. Reflection instead of blame. But those choices were rarely made. Instead, the same response appeared again and again. Distance, accusation, control of the narrative, and a refusal to accept even a small share of responsibility. Over time, people stopped trying, not because they hated her, but because they felt there was no room left to meet in the middle. When nothing is ever enough, eventually people stop offering anything at all. This is where the story stands now. Career opportunities are shrinking, public goodwill has dried up, powerful allies are fewer. The excitement that once followed every announcement is gone. Projects are met with skepticism instead of enthusiasm. Promises are met with raised eyebrows instead of applause. Fame without trust does not last. Influence without respect fades quickly. And sympathy without accountability eventually turns into fatigue. What we are seeing now is not a fall caused by one mistake. It is the outcome of many decisions made over many years. Each decision may have seemed small at the time. Each bridge burned may have felt justified in the moment. But taken together, they built a path that led exactly here. This does not mean redemption is impossible, but it does mean it cannot come from the same place as before. It cannot come from blame. It cannot come from telling the same story louder, and it cannot come from attacking the same people again. If change ever comes, it would have to start with honesty. Real honesty, not curated interviews, not carefully worded statements, but true reflection and accountability. Until then, the public will continue to do what it is doing now, watching, remembering, and drawing its own conclusions. The story of Meghan Markle has become a lesson that reaches far beyond royalty or celebrity. It is a reminder that opportunities are fragile, trust is precious, and gratitude is not optional if you want relationships to survive. When every hand that reaches out eventually gets pushed away, there comes a moment when no hands remain. And that moment, for better or worse, appears to have arrived. This is not cruelty. This is consequence. And it has been building for a very long time.